DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. We're going to have a good show today. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to talk about some of the things that have been brought up in the industry. We work so hard on low-stress cattle handling, but why are some of the cattle seeming to get wilder when they go to the sale barn? I'm going to be your host today. Thanks for joining us on DocTalk, and I'll see you here after these messages.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Welcome to DocTalk, and thanks for joining me today. Today is, every once in a while we have those shows where we don't have a guest and y'all are just stuck with me, and today's one of those. And I'm really thankful for all that you do. Thank you for watching the show, and it's really, really gratifying when I'm out on the road or at an event and someone comes up and say, hey, we enjoy DocTalk. Anytime you see me, I'm very approachable. Come up, visit, and we'll talk about future episodes or things you want to see on the show. Now, Daryl at Supreme Genetics, sorry your cap's not on here today. I forgot it, but I'll have it on our next episode. Now, when we start to talk about cattle and cattle in our feed yards, one of the things that I was over at the Clay Center in Junction City Sale Barn with the Langvart family, and one of the things we're talking about, they said, hey, if you're going to do a show, why don't you talk about these cattle and when they're coming into the auction markets or when they're coming into feed yards, how wild they seem to be lately. And I said, I don't get your drift. I don't understand what you mean. We're doing so much work in the industry today with teaching stockmanship and stewardship and low-stress cattle handling, and we started to have a discussion. And one of the things that it led to was how we spend less and less time with our cattle because of technology. And some of the things that we started discussing are now we're feeding cattle in fence line bunks where we don't have to get out, open the gate, drive in, feed the cattle in the bunk system. We just pull up with the feed mixer, dump out the supplement, and move on. Some of the things that we have for distributing big bales today, the only time we really get out of the truck to do anything is when we cut the bale wrap off. And I hope we're cutting the bale wrap off. And so we get out, we cut the bale wrap off, and then we get back in the truck and we unroll the big bale. Some of the other things that not only do we have a lack of contact of human beings walking on the ground and acclimating cattle and interacting with cattle, we also now, when we doctor cattle, we're using dart guns more and more. And so not only are we not interacting with the cattle on foot when we're feeding, but now when we go to check for sick cattle and we pull up out the window, it's kind of like road hunting, that we're sticking the dart gun out the window and we're shooting one with darts. And when I talk with people like Joe Stuckey up in Canada who do cattle behavior work, we're actually making cattle less domesticated and more gun shy, for the lack of a better term, of when we do this. I'm not saying that the technology is bad, and I'm not saying that I don't use it. What I'm saying is that we need to use the technology, but we need to understand some of the limitations that we're doing and the lack of interaction that we're having day to day with cattle on foot. So we're going to talk about how we can still use drones, how we can still use our dart guns to deliver medications, how we can use our bale carriers and fence line bunk feeders, and still help produce a calf that when it goes to the auction market isn't skittish and isn't afraid to see people. More after these messages.
Say this is a calf that's been run through the chute a few too many times. Going through the chute stresses cattle, causing them not to eat like they should. Luckily, Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ provides proven protection against key respiratory diseases in a single shot, with just one trip through the chute. Talk to your veterinarian about Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ, and soon your calves will relax and eat like a whole different animal.
Still using ineffective fly tags on your cattle? It's time to eliminate fleas, ticks, flies, lice, and parasites, and at the same time, give them a shiny coat, making them more valuable. One fly tag can cost $2.50, but you can do this all for about a nickel a head. Introducing the Cow Sprayer, designed and built in the U.S. The Cow Sprayer is portable, solar-powered, and comes with a 25 or 40-gallon tank. Eliminate parasites for about 5 cents a head with the Cow Sprayer. Cowsprayer.com.
Do your cattle struggle with pink eye, BRD, or another disease? Contact Newport Laboratories for a customized solution. Our custom-made vaccines are produced using the specific diseases found in your area. These USDA licensed vaccines offer potential cost savings on vaccine and labor. Contact your veterinarian or Newport Laboratories the next time your cattle are in need of a custom solution. Newport Laboratories custom-made vaccine, because every situation is different.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey there, folks. Welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here. I'm at Kansas State University, where I teach feedlot production medicine and beef production medicine at the veterinary school, and I also teach beef science and advanced feedlot health medicine systems over in our animal science department. So if you're a future student, we'd love to have you at K-State. One of the things that we're talking about today is the use of technology and the lack of interaction. And as we were discussing here with the staff during the break, you know, it's not just with cattle, we kind of do it with people too. We're texting and using social media and different things of that nature, and we're living kind of in solitude and not interacting as much face to face and engaging folks. So, you know, what are some of the things when we're using, you know, even with ranch cattle now? I just watched 2 seminars, one, and you need to really look at this technology coming out, but drones and GPS technology, the ability to understand the behavior of the animal when it's going to calve, being able to check cattle with drones. But what else can we do to make sure that we're acclimating? And so let's start out at birth. So when calves are born, you know, the first thing that we've been trained to do or conditioned to do is as soon as we can catch that calf, go put a tag in its ear. And as Dr. Tom Knopfsinger has always said, is that why hurry? You know, the first and foremost thing for that calf's health is to allow it to bond with its mother and to get proper colostrum intake. And we don't need to put a tag in its ear right away. The mother doesn't need, the mama cow doesn't need the tag in the ear to understand which one's her calf. What we need to do is wait at least 24 hours, let that calf have time with its mom, let it nurse and get colostrum. Once we have that, that's when acclimation, the first acclimation or the human-animal interaction occurs. Not only does it occur with the calf, but we're also interacting with the cow to let that cow know that we're here to protect her baby. There are many different things that we can be doing. Placing an ear tag and identification of the cow and the calf for our own records is important, and for future health records. The other things that we could be doing at that point in time is to work with your veterinarian and talk about what are some things you can do as far as vaccinations? And obviously, if you have endemic blackleg situation in your pastures, you need to be talking about your veterinarian about giving an immediate blackleg vaccination to those calves. And then the other two things that I think should become common husbandry practices, one is feeling on the head for horn buds. And if there are horn buds there, we can quickly disbud that calf with a butane disbudder that you can just carry in the pickup. And the second one, and weighing the calf, obviously, for production records. But the other thing is that we can do is castrate those calves. And there are many different tools, but the little lastrator band Cheerio that you can slip over the testicles and the scrotum works very well. A lot of times people say, well, I don't want to castrate those calves because I want added performance. I can tell you that the reason why calves have added performance is because they have increased testosterone production. We don't have testosterone production until those bulls hit 7, 9, 10 months of age. And by that time, they're weaned. So if you're trying to increase your growth rates on the cow by leaving those bulls intact, you're not going to have an increase in growth rate. And there's 3 studies, Arkansas, Florida, and K-State, that show that there's no advantage in weaning weights in calves that are castrated at birth versus calves that are left intact till weaning. You will, however, incur an incredible deduction in the price of those calves, because feed yard operators understand that if we have to castrate those calves upon arrival, we're going to have increased morbidity or increased bovine respiratory disease. More after these messages.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
Parasites will lose you more money than any other disease out there besides infertility. So, parasites is something that we have to control, and that's what VetGun does for us. It's tough out there on a ranch, but with the ease of the VetGun, it's a one-man operation, and whenever you can get one thing to work out great throughout that day, it just makes my life a little easier.
I've always had an interest in care for the animals and their well-being. Really what we want to do is work hard to eliminate as much feedlot lameness or beef cattle lameness as possible.
How we feed a cow on a daily basis can not only have daily effects, but they can also have long-term effects on claw health, reproductive performance, mammary health, all of those factors as we look at the inputs and the response that the animal has to what we feed them.
When animals have adequate intake of effective nutrients, we take care of the immune system and performance follows. It's important that the consumers understand our dedication to the well-being of these animals.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
So the other thing is, when we're handling those calves, is to make sure that we try to get those baby calves to come to us and that we don't just run them down. We want to use good animal husbandry techniques. We don't want to chase down the calf, grab the calf, throw it in the cab, have the cow jump in the cab with us, that type of rodeo. We all have those types of stories. Instead, what we want to do is acclimate the calf that we're its friend, that we're its caregiver. We want to let the cow know that we're here to help her baby and help her whenever they need care given. So go on PAC DVM's website. You can go on the Beef Cattle Institute's website here at Kansas State University. Kurt Pate is another place to Google and understand how to interact with that baby calf and at the point in time. So the next time that we're going to probably handle these calves is going to be at turnout or at branding. And it's this point in time where when we start to talk about the interaction with the calf, applying good, sound, low-stress cattle handling techniques. The first thing we're going to do probably is sort the cows and the calves. We're going to give the cows their pre-breeding shots and their fly tags and things to that nature, making sure that we interact with those animals in a low-stress cattle handling methods. And then when we go to the calves, and I know that everybody wants to rope and drag and make branding a more of a social event. And a lot of times when we show up at a branding, there's only 2 or 3 people there that actually have a job on a farm. The rest of them are coming from town or relatives or things that are coming out for the celebration. And we understand the history and the heritage of the branding. But if we don't handle these calves appropriately on horseback or on foot, we're going to drive home or produce an attitude towards humans and humans on horses that's going to be negative reinforcement in the calves. So making sure that we understand that we're applying pressure, releasing pressure, that we're not getting the calves worked up during this point in time. A lot of times I prefer to just work them through the alley and work them with the calf tilt table. But I understand the heritage and a lot of the tradition that goes along with branding. We want to make sure that when we do brand that we are working with our veterinarian for proper vaccinations for these calves. Make sure that if we haven't castrated them at birth, that this is the point in time that we're getting them, the earliest point that we can get them, that we have these calves caught. Castrate, disbud, do those types of things at branding before we go to turnout. Once we do turn out and send these calves with their mamas out into the pastures, if we're going to have timed AI or different things to that nature, we always need to have in mind, and one of the things I'll do, whether it's at branding or potentially at weaning, is actually allow those calves to walk through the alley, walk through the snake, walk through the chute open, to understand the path and the direction in which we want them to go. And I won't catch them. I'll just let them come back, and then we'll push them through the chute to work them. But you'll be amazed that when we bring calves in, whether it's at branding or at weaning, that allowing those calves to do that, it actually works a little bit better at weaning, but because you have to push calves at branding, they're lightweight little calves that don't understand a lot of the things that we're asking them to do. But simply employing that technique, especially at weaning, that we just allow the calves to go through the chute, go through the alley, go through the snake, go through the chute, don't catch them, let them sit overnight, and then process them the next day. Going to be a great technique, going to help you acclimate those calves to the chute in your working facilities.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your beef checkoff helps do that.
We're Durger's Cattle Company, cow-calf operation primarily with a small replacement heifer operation. We started our operation in 2012, but we expanded on my father-in-law's operation, who started in the 70s, and built off his expertise and his knowledge and have taken and grown it to what it is today. We span about 4 different counties in North and South Carolina, running about 1,000 acres with 350 roughly head of mama cows. My husband and I and my son and my father-in-law operate together. About 2 years ago, we decided to make the switch to become all-natural producers. And what that means is it's a certain standard of quality and life for not only the calves that become part of the food source and the meat itself, but the cows also. Beef checkoff is important for our operation in a twofold way. First is marketing, creating a customer for us. We sell directly to feedlots, but our end game is the consumer. We want to create a product for the consumer that they desire, that they want to go back to the supermarket or steakhouse and they want more beef. Everybody knows the slogan, beef is what's for dinner, but it falls even more than that in that they've raised consumer awareness in quality, which is important to us because we try to focus heavily on our genetics. That's a main component of our operation, and the checkoff has allowed us to do that by promoting a product that's important to the consumer, that it's good quality, it's safe, it's nutritious, and they're gonna want to be return customers.
It takes vision, dedication, hard work. It takes knowing who you can trust. At Zinpro Corporation, we have more industry-endorsed research behind our trace minerals than any other company. Proof that our patented performance minerals help improve overall animal health and performance. Lots of companies make claims. At Zinpro, we generate results.
Still using ineffective fly tags on your cattle? It's time to eliminate fleas, ticks, flies, lice, and parasites, and at the same time, give them a shiny coat, making them more valuable. One fly tag can cost $2.50, but you can do this all for about a nickel a head. Introducing the Cow Sprayer, designed and built in the U.S. The Cow Sprayer is portable, solar-powered, and comes with a 25 or 40-gallon tank. Eliminate parasites for about 5 cents a head with the Cow Sprayer. Cowsprayer.com.
It's easy to spot the man who uses Synanthic. With lower volume and less waste, Synanthic steps up your deworming routine. Get more deworming with less dewormer at Synanthic.com.
Beringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Inc. knows the importance of beef quality assurance and asks you to step up and get certified. Go to bqa.org for details.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
So what are some of the things we can do with the things we mentioned earlier? And you know, when we talk about the fence line bunks, maybe it's something that after we feed, just getting out of the tractor and taking a walk around the animals while they're interested in the feed. They also bump into you. They get used to having you around on foot. That will calm the cattle down. When we unroll hay bales in the winter and cut the baling twine off, a lot of times what I'll do, you know, obviously we want to get a head count to make sure everybody's accounted for when we're feeding. And so we'll go ahead or when we're putting cake out and a hay bale, we'll go ahead and unroll that bale and spend some time with the animals. Get out, walk through them, look at them, evaluate the animals. But more importantly, what I'm doing is not just getting a count or not just taking a look at the animals. I'm walking through those animals and acclimating them there. If a cow stops and asks me to give her direction, I'll apply some pressure until she moves, acclimate her to my commands, and then move on to the rest of the group. But it just gets them used to seeing you. When we look at sick animals or animals that we're going to dart, one of the things we want to make sure that we're doing, if we aren't spending time with these animals at the time of feeding or times that we're non-threatening and we're just stopping, rolling down the window and shooting one with a dart, you know, we need to think about how these actions can be employed, because I can tell you from the comments that have been made to me from people at auction markets, as these animals are wilder, they obviously incur more injuries. If they're wilder going into a sale barn that has concrete flooring, which a lot of them do, when they first interact with human beings, you'll wind up with animals that will get spinning their toes on the concrete, and we wind up with toe abscesses when those calves arrive at the feedlot. We can get people injured at auction markets that are working with cattle in confined spaces and things to that nature. So above all, we do all this work all year long in planning the feeding, planning the breeding, planning our pastures, getting our leases set up. And it all comes down to that sale day of when we're going to get our asking price or get a price for those calves that we have produced. Taking the time to acclimate your cattle, spend time with your cattle, get out of the tractor can be as valuable to the sale price of your calves on sale day and the health of your cattle and the decrease in rejected loads or rejected cattle for injuries or things to that nature as a vaccine or different things that we could do. At the end of the day, judicious antibiotic usage is going to be important. people will start to recognize that the practices that we do on the farm to make sure that we have low stress and decrease the amount of stress that occurs on the farm, preparing those calves properly to go on to the next change of address, so that when they have interactions with humans, they have decreased stress, which decreases morbidity, which increases the asking price or the sale price of your calves when you take them to market. Thanks for watching DocTalk today. Remember to always work with your local veterinarian, and if you want to know more about what we do at DocTalk, you can find us at www.DocTalkTV.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here from Kansas State University. Thanks for joining me today, talking about something that I think is very important, human-animal interaction, and I'll see you down the road. Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com. DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.